Thank you all for being here. This is obviously a very important subject for us, and I've got a lot of questions in a lot of different directions. But first, I'd like to just get a little bit of a response from you. There was some mention, I think Dr. Romine mentioned about passwords and ineffectiveness of passwords. Seems like there was a lot of nodding going on with that. To me, it seems like passwords are very effective of keeping me off my own computer because I keep forgetting them. I'm wondering if there could be a way that the hackers could remind me of my passwords because I keep forgetting them. But wonder if you could talk just a little bit more about that, of what is the next, what's the next step, what's the research, where are we at on that? Specifically, is there R&D that holds promise for better option or solutions than passwords?
Great question.
Absolutely. I can talk from the NIST perspective. We have started a program on what we call the usability of security, and usability is a scientific discipline, a quantitative discipline to determine. Our mantra in this case is we want to make it easy to do the right thing, hard to do the wrong thing, and easy to recover when the wrong thing happens anyway. Those are the three principles that I like to talk about. By the way, I shamelessly stole that from a colleague. That's good. From our perspective, we now have research results suggesting exactly as you say. We've had for years anecdotal evidence suggesting that passwords just don't work. We've been able to collect validated data now suggesting that when you make passwords more complex, which you have to do, because if they're easy, if they're simple, then they're guessable. But if you make them too complex, then people find ways around the security by writing them down, by storing them in plain text files, and so on. So it's really sort of can be counterproductive. The NSTIC program that NIST manages, which is a nationwide program where we have the program office, is pledged to essentially deal with this authentication problem. Password is only one way of authenticating to the system, and it's, as we know now, a pretty poor way to do it in general, and yet it's ubiquitous, it's universal. And the NSTIC program is pledged to, as they say, put a stake in the heart of the password. We're trying to transition to other means. But
what's your guess on when that could happen? I mean, what's a timeline?
Well,
the
investments that have been made in pilots, and we have 13 pilots running now, sort of span the space from authentication through a mechanism, a token, through biometrics, through two-factor authentication. I think, as Dean alluded to earlier, or as Dr. Fisher alluded to. So I don't know the exact timeline. I know that we're making strides in that area, we're making investments, and we're making it clear that we have now validated evidence that passwords are flawed as a mechanism for authentication.
Some of those technologies are already in the marketplace. I think Ms. McGuire made the point as well. I mean, many of the mobile devices that are being sold today do have biometric authentication instead of passwords, and so increasingly that's being deployed commercially.
Okay.
So if I might add that I think you really hit the nail on the head. Passwords is something that we all have to wrestle with, and I think research has shown that a one-size-fits-all isn't really a good way to proceed forward. There's been work that looks on trying to adapt the kinds of authentication that a system is going to be used to who the individual is. So the research project at Berkeley going on that. And also some very interesting research that went on at Carnegie Mellon about passwords in particular. And is it length? Is it complexity? What are the best ways to have users work with passwords when you have password protected? And then how do you feed information back to the user to help the user along?
Let me switch gears real quick. As a parent, I'm amazed at how quickly young people pick up on new technology. I've seen in my own office when I struggle with new technology, I call my staff and leave them a voicemail message, wait for them to get back to me. If they can't figure it out, they text my kids and get an answer right away. But with the access kids have, there's also concern that comes with that. And just wonder if you could talk briefly about current parental control technology. Is it adequately protecting minors? I still have a 10-year-old and 13-year-old at home, as well as older kids. But concerned certainly of protection, but then also sensing that predators are coming after them, not waiting for them to find problem areas. So I wanted just to get your thoughts of how adequate this is and what's happening there.
So I'll jump in on this one. So online child safety is a critical concern that all of us have. And particularly, as you mentioned, as kids are surfing and going everywhere, it's really hard to monitor that as a parent. So there are tools available. Certainly we have them in our Norton security products. Other products out there give the parent the ability to go in and type in keywords, block certain websites, and so forth. So those are there today.
You feel like they're pretty effective? I mean, the response you're getting?
Our customers tell us that they are effective, and so we believe that they help significantly there. The other part of this, though, and it goes to this socio-technological issue, is we have to start with our kids when they are first picking up a device and start training them to be careful, to be aware online, to be safe online. It's got to start immediately, and also we need to include that in our school curriculum. You know, we teach kids general safety, but we don't often teach them about cybersecurity. So that's a big area that can help.
I see my time is up. Thank you, Chairwoman. Appreciate your generosity.